It's 6:45 a.m. in Connecticut, and Matthew Dicks is already scribbling in his notebook. Every night, regardless of where he's been or how exhausted he feels, he captures the homework for life, that one little story from his day worth remembering. But why does a five-time Moth GrandSLAM champ swear this simple habit changed not just his stories, but his whole life? Stick around, you're about to find out. You think stories have to be dramatic, right? Matthew Dicks flips that on its head with a game-changing idea about everyday moments, ones you'd usually overlook. Matthew's daily ritual, homework for life, is a game-changer. Every night he writes down the most story-worthy moment from his day, no matter how small, a toddler's clever mischief or a surprising glance from his wife. This practice turned him from a scattered storyteller into a keen observer who never runs out of real material. Think of finding stories like fishing with a net instead of a pole. Instead of hunting for a big fish event, you scoop up the little moments that ripple with meaning, those fleeting slices of life that feel mundane but actually pulse with emotion and truths everyone relates to. The payoff? You start seeing your life as a treasure trove, not a boring routine. By noticing the small stuff, your stories gain a richness that hooks listeners because they recognize their own lives in yours. You transform from storyteller to emotional gold miner, unearthing unexpected gems. A great story isn't just what you say, it's how you shape it. Matthew's methods cut through the noise, transforming even a simple tale into a suspenseful, memorable ride. Matthew highlights the 5-second moment, that fleeting instant he calls your story's heartbeat. For example, he told a tale about his son learning to tie his shoes, but pointed to the precise seconds right before success, that breath-holding pause when everything could still go wrong. That tiny slice holds the whole story's tension and payoff. Imagine your story like a thriller movie. You tease, you build suspense, you delay release. Rather than spilling the ending too early, Matthew recommends pacing that teases the payoff just enough for your listeners' hearts to race. In other words, don't serve the dessert before the appetizer. Here's the kicker. The ending isn't just about closure but transformation. In his Moth stories, Matthew often flips the perspective on its head, like turning a mundane confession into a universal lesson about fear or hope. That surprise shift leaves your audience thinking long after you stop talking. Storytelling isn't just for applause. It's therapy, connection, and clarity rolled into one. Matthew reveals why telling your story changes you before anyone even listens. When Matthew tells his story of a miscarriage and his wife's heartbreak, he shows how retelling it helped him process grief, not just share it. Each telling adds layers of understanding and healing, proving stories are living things that reshape your perception and memory of events. Authenticity isn't a buzzword but a magnetic force. Matthew emphasizes how being honest, warts and all, builds a bridge to your audience. When people hear genuine emotion, they drop their walls and lean in. It's chemistry through storytelling, not just words. The most surprising gift, pain becomes a tool for connection and even empowerment. By sharing vulnerability, Matthew's stories often end with listeners feeling seen, comforted, and oddly inspired. Your story isn't just yours, it's a lifeline tossed across the table in a crowded room. Remember that quiet notebook from the start, that nightly ritual capturing tiny moments? Now you see, it's not just journaling, it's a doorway to deeper life and connection. Tonight, try this. Jot down one seemingly meaningless moment and tell it with the heartbeat of your story. You'll be surprised how that small spark lights up your whole narrative. Subscribe for more book summaries like this one.